Hey, what's happening? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Let There Be Talk. This episode is brought to you by my incredible sponsor, Earthquaker Devices. Yeah, you play guitar, you want to rock out, you got to get an Earthquaker device. A stomp box, you know what I mean? They make the finest stomp pedals on the planet, and they love comedy. So what greater sponsor to have, right? Go to earthquakerdevices.com. Get yourself a distortion or a fuzz or a wah-wah. No, they don't make wah yet. I'm waiting for it. Check out their fuzz sound called The Park. That's the one I love. The Park! Yes, Earthquaker Devices, comedy fans, rock and roll, stomp box pedal makers. Used by some of the greatest musicians around, like Juan Alderete from Mars Volta, and also Mark Maron rocks them. You hear him rock the pedals. Earthquaker Devices, I love you guys. Go to them, earthquakerdevices.com, and also they'll be at the NAMM show again in January, and this will be my third year hanging out with them. I can't believe it's already 3 years. Is that right? 1, 2, yeah, third year at NAMM show. God. These guys have been my sponsor for like 2 years now. I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. Earthquaker Devices. Give myself away every morning. Gonna give myself away. All right, thanks for tuning in. It is August 3rd. It's a Monday, and great weekend. Did a lot of shows. I was home finally. Not really. I mean, Thursday, Red Band and I and Spicer all went up to San Jose, and I headlined the San Jose Improv. What a great night that was. Tons of podcast fans and comedy fans from the podcast here showed up. Awesome. Shit's starting to work. Word of mouth. There was some butts in the seats. We had 132 paid, which is great. It doesn't sound like much, but imagine if I didn't have the podcast, we'd probably have 0 paid. It was great. Had a good time. Harley sponsored it. We had some bikes up there. And San Jose Improv just treated us right. We had a great time other than the 109 degrees fucking temperature. What is going on this summer, man? It's a flamethrower. Global warming! It's just so fucking hot everywhere I've been in the last month. Anyway, thank you, all of San Jose that came out. You guys were great. We had a good time, even though it was hot as shit out. Fantastic trip, well worth it, and I'll be back up there soon. This Wednesday, if you're listening, is Brian Redband's birthday, and if you live in LA, please do not miss this show. It is going to be epic. It's at the Comedy Store. Brian Redband's birthday, and let me tell you who's on it. What an insane lineup. It's Joe Rogan, Joey Diaz, me, Tripoli, Hinchcliffe, Sarah Wineshank, Red Band, of course, and more surprise guests. It's going to be insane. It is Brian Redband's birthday. Get tickets in advance immediately at the Comedy Store website because it will sell out. Joe Rogan, Diaz, that's going to be insane. Happy birthday. Everyone, please hit Brian Redband's Twitter and tell him I sent you to say happy birthday. Hardworking guy, great friend. It's going to be a fun night, Wednesday. And then this weekend, I'm back in Denver for the 5th time. Back in Denver at the Comedy Works South with Jay Moore, Friday and Saturday. No Thursday show now, so I'll be in there early. Someone scoop me up and take me around town. I'm going to be bored sitting around. Come scoop me up. Let's see. Great guest today. This is a great thing. I always say when you're doing comedy, one of the greatest things I've gotten out of comedy is friends and really good friends. It's funny. You'll meet guys that have similar lives, and you're like, wow, well, this guy's a lot like me. He played music. He grew up in Chicago. He loved punk rock, then he loved classic rock, and then he started playing comedy. After 3 bands, we get into the ridiculousness of ridiculousness. I can't believe I got that out. Plenty of sleep. Got some sleep. Ridiculousness. Anyway, now, see, I talk shit and then I can't talk. Anyway, John Roy. Let me tell you, the guy is funny as shit. He gets it. Great friend. Plays rock and roll. Loves rock and roll. But he's a stand-up comedian out of Chicago. He came out of a scene that has nothing but super incredible original comedians. Hannibal, Kyle Kinane, Matt Bronger, John Roy. The list goes on and on and on. And I love the guy, man. He's a great dude. Very supportive. And loves rock. What better guy to have on? He did a very funny sketch, like a series of sketches called Mirroring in Space, which are absolutely hilarious, and I love them. And we're going to end up jamming. He plays bass now. We're going to end up jamming. We're going to play some bass licks on your grave. So that's going to be fun as shit. John Roy is a great guy. He's done so much stuff. Conan, Tonight Show, all the great podcasts. You're going to love them. We talk a lot of rock here. What else do I got? I guess maybe a short intro today. Oh, this is what I was going to tell you. Last week I had an experiment, see how many reviews I could get. The goal was to get 100. I got 41. 41 reviews, which is good. I mean, you guys got off your asses and did some reviews on iTunes, and boom, all of a sudden I'm in the top 150. What I'm finding out about podcasting is it's not just about how many listeners you have, it's also about reviews and subscribers. So, yeah, keep the reviews going. Let's see if we can get 100. We're at 303. We were at 262 last week. So, hell yeah. And they're great reviews, you know. Look at this one. Who is this? Shalarkley. Shalarkley. All right. Jill's Blues. I know her. Great 5-star review. Jill's Blues. One Old Fut. Awesome podcast, he says. All these great ones, man. Bong Handler. Dean's the man. Bong Handler wrote a review. So, great. It's working. You guys are fucking doing it. I'm over here busting my ass, putting the podcast up. Now you guys are busting your ass writing the reviews. Thanks. Took about 1 minute each, I bet. Okay, one last thing. Let me get to it. So last week I get an email from someone that says, hey man, I got a challenge for you. I'm going to bet you that you like the new Darkness album. And over the years, people always ask me what I thought about the Darkness. And here's the funny thing. In 2003, they came out. They had that Permission to Land record. And they had the song, remember, I Believe in a Thing Called Love. And it sounded like this band from the 80s to me called Nitro as far as the singing. You know, it was like, and I just didn't dig it. I mean, I saw them open for the Stones, and it just felt like joke rock to me. And I never liked joke rock. I just don't dig it. It felt more of the side of Steel Panther than it did like authentic, like 80s rock, you know? Like, I like dangerous street rock. I don't like everything from the 80s. I've said it over and over. I'm not some fucking Tora fool out there, you know? There's bands from the 80s that I love, but it doesn't mean I love the genre. I like it to be crazy and dangerous. So the Darkness, you know, I just didn't dig it at all. And they've got 5 fucking records out. They never stopped, which is crazy. In 2003, they did Permission to Land. Then in 2005, One Way Ticket. 2006, they did a record, Is It Just Me? 2012, they did a record, Hot Cakes. I haven't heard any of them. So the guy challenges me, says, hey, I bet you're going to like it. Immediately, I fire it up, ready to hate. I've got my hate guns on. Even though I always say promote what's great, not what you hate. You know, that's why I didn't talk about the darkness. So I put the record on. It's called Last of Our Kind. It just came out. First song comes on, Barbarian. I'm like, hey, this is pretty fucking good. And I was like laughing, like, all right, they got a good song. I go to the next one, Open Fire, pretty good. Then the third song, Last of Our Kind, great. I get to the fourth song, and it's fucking fire, man. Roaring Waters. Sounds like a water slide park, I know. Roaring Waters. But shit, man. This thing has got some legit riffs, and the production on it is fantastic. It sounds amazing. And for once, to me, it doesn't sound like a joke band. Now, I don't know what the other records sounded like, so I could be talking out my ass. I just remember the first one with the goofy videos and the spandex and all that shit. It just wasn't for me, you know? And I even saw him, I saw him also at the Viper Room, I believe. So I saw him twice. I gave it a chance. I wasn't just hating out of the gate. But it was just hokey. But this record... it's fucking good, man. And I lose. I lose the bet. I lose the challenge. I don't lose in the long run, though, because I get another record to listen to this year that came out. I could see him easily touring with AC/DC. It'd be great. Have him open. And also, I think the singer had a little white powder problem for a while, which... gets points in my book. did some marching powder, some snow, some chilly weather, some toot, some bumpy road, some krell, whatever you call it. The devil's dandruff. Anyway, check it out, man. Last of Our Kind, The Darkness. Pretty surprised. 42 minutes, the record. Perfect amount for a rock record, if you ask me. 40 to 45 minutes, about all you need for rock. Really 38 minutes. Some of your best records are probably 30 minutes back in the day. You don't even realize it because it's just so good. There it is. I lose. The Del Rey loses. The Del Rey likes the new Darkness record. Talking to myself like a lunatic in third person. The Del Rey, like an idiot. Anyway, so thanks for that challenge, man. Awesome. I'll take it. I want you guys all to have a great week. I will see you Wednesday at the Comedy Store for Red Band's birthday, and I will see you, Denver, for the 5th time this weekend. Light the candles of rock. Here he is, John Roy. All right, here we are, another episode of Let There Be Talk. Great guest today, comedian John Roy.
What's up?
How are you, buddy?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I spent the day at IKEA. And we bought a table, and we got to put that shit together. Yeah. So that's what's on the menu for me tonight.
Who's we? You got a lady?
Me and my girlfriend. We just moved in together about a month and a half ago.
Wow. How long you been seeing her?
About a year and a half, I guess.
Yeah.
I think. The anniversary day, we don't really know when we're starting it from, but we were long distance for about a year.
Where'd she live?
Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
Which is
That's
where I'm
you're
from,
right.
but I didn't know her from back then. I just met her at a show.
Oh, wow.
Doing comedy at the Hideout with James Adomian, and then we ended up talking, and then she came out here on business. And then we dated for like a year, long distance, and then she got a promotion, moved out to LA, and now we're at IKEA.
What does she do?
She is a education training person for Benefit Cosmetics.
Wow.
So they send her all over to like make sure the people. She used to run one of their stores. So she's
like a touring person too.
She is. She's been on the road 5 weeks now, and it's like what's cool about it. I mean, it sucks because we don't get to see each other as much as we'd like to, but I don't just feel bad for being the dude who leaves.
Yeah.
You know, usually it's always like, well, I gotta leave again.
I think that's impossible. You know, it's really weird unless you're like a crazy famous next level guy where you're just flying in, doing 2 theaters and coming home. But when we're out, it's 5 shows Thursday through Sunday. Sometimes you fly out Wednesday night to do radio. You're gone fucking weeks.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's funny is I've been here in LA for a month and a half. She's been out every week.
Yeah,
like they said
that
at Baltimore.
Keeps it hot, probably.
So yeah, it's great. It's just it's just you don't see her as much as you like. You know,
well, you're not
you finally
burn
built
out.
this, but that's true. You're not. You were still super excited to see each other. It's not like that person in my apartment again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's got to be weird. Like if a woman moves to LA from another state, and then they don't know anyone. And then you go, okay, here you go. I'll be gone.
Bye. Yeah. No, I feel bad about it. That's why I'm glad she really loves LA and she makes friends really easy. She's in sales. That's where she does.
Yeah.
So that's not too hard for her to do. And she has her sister lives in San Diego. She has a couple friends from college around here. So it's not entirely. Yeah. And we spent a year dating long distance. She came out here a lot, so she got to meet a lot of my friends.
Yeah.
And I know they're still the friend of the other person, but at least it's people that knew her and not just like, what's up, LA?
And Chicago weather sucks ass.
So we dug our car out in January, and I'm like, we're never going to have to do this again.
Yeah.
You know that, right? We're never going to have to you will never have to shovel fuck all when you come out to LA.
Now, you grew up in Chicago?
Yeah, I grew up in the north side of Chicago in Rogers Park, which is just north of Wrigleyville and just south of the city border. It's the topmost neighborhood in Chicago.
I've been there a ton. Shitloads. I played all the places there. What do you got? You got
Metro, Vic.
Metro. What's the one next to that mob bar?
Well, there's
that bar, the Green something.
The Green Mill. Yeah, you're talking about the Aragon Ballroom.
No.
Oh no, there's another one, the Riviera.
That's it. The Riviera.
The Riv.
That place is dope.
I saw Wilco at the Riv in 1997.
Yeah.
At the Metro in Chicago, I saw Pearl Jam in 91.
Yeah.
With Smashing Pumpkins, Billy Corgan came on unannounced.
Yeah.
And they did "I've Got a Feeling" by the Beatles.
Wow.
Trading off parts. So Eddie Vedder was McCartney, like everybody had a good year, and then. Billy comes in of like, what's the next part of it? No, he's like, I got a feeling, and then he goes, everybody had a good year, with the best Corgan thing. My old girlfriend used to be the massage therapist of different rock stars,
really?
In
Chicago.
In Chicago,
right.
So
you got Tweety and who else you got?
Well, people that would be visiting. So we got these Foo Fighters tickets because she was massaging Melissa Aufdermauer for the Pumpkins.
Right.
And she goes, "Do you mind if my boyfriend reads us a story?" Wow. And she's like, "No, he can read us a story." So from in the other room, Dave Grohl's voice starts reading a bedtime story.
Hilarious.
And she's like, "What?" And then so then we went to see a show that night that they actually showed on the Sonic Highway show.
Yeah.
Which was Foo Fighters with Queens of the Stone Age
Cheap Trick
opening,
right.
But Foo Fighters came out dressed as Cheap Trick,
right?
Because it was Halloween,
that was great,
and they played "Hello There." It was incredible, right? And then that night too, there was this DJ in the morning called Man Cow, just an idiot in Chicago.
Man Cow, yeah.
Kind of an
it's
asshole.
Man Cow,
it's just a real
I'm fucking cool.
Let me tell you about midgets
sucks.
and strippers. Now let me tell you why you got to be a Republican. Wait, what?
Right.
You talking about midgets and strippers?
Like the Ted Nugent talk.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
You can't talk about fucking midget strippers and then be like, now look, Clinton's got to go. Like,
that
what?
shit is weird.
Yeah,
right?
like what did you just say?
It's just like the dirty dark side of the Republicans.
Yeah, like
they want to be Democrats. Like, let's go to strip clubs.
We want to fucking shit. We just want to pay taxes on it.
Exactly.
So he goes on stage with a Playboy Playmate.
Yeah.
To try to be cool and introduce Foo Fighters
on the Halloween.
But none of their fans like Playboy Playmate and Man Cow. They got booed off the stage for their own radio station.
That's like a
promo.
different crowd.
Yeah. Well, what happened was they had Man Cow in the morning with. Then the rest of the day was alternative rock.
Right.
But the rock fans didn't want to hear Man Cow. They started to deal with him at all the Q101 events because he was the guy. So he'd be like, you guys ready? Boo! Are you ready to rock? We're ready for you to get the fuck off the stage.
Yeah. I'm kind of glad I started comedy when I did because before it was like Man Cow, all these morning radio shows you would have to do to fire up the show. And now if you got a pretty successful podcast, you could just go, hey, I'm coming tomorrow.
And
you don't got to get up at
yeah.
fucking 5 a.m.
I it's less and less, but I still have to do morning radio for about a third of my gigs.
Yeah, me too. But I'm saying it doesn't hold the power.
It doesn't do fucking anything. All my life, every night I've gone, hey, did you guys? And then the only people from the radio are the people that got the free giveaway tickets.
That's it. It's
like that. Nobody goes, hey, I heard that guy. I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
The best you can do for radio is that they show up and have heard you on there before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
I heard you on that thing last year, here I am,
Yeah, it's strange. That's I find in comedy and music, they hold on to these old regimes and ways of working the underbellies of it. And you're going, well, it's not working.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because here's what you do. Let's say, all right, Thursday night is completely free if you listen to Man Cow. And you'll get like 9 guys.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You're not going to fill
And
it
the
up.
people you're going to get aren't going to be fans. They're just guys that wanted free shit.
Yeah.
And B, are fans of Man Cow, not you.
Yeah.
Why are you talking about how midgets should be fucked by strippers and also you should be Republican?
Yeah. So you saw that Cheap Trick one?
Yeah, I saw that. That was probably my best show.
When was that? Like 2 years ago?
No, dude. That was 2000, man.
No, but when were they shooting Sonic Highway?
Oh, that?
Yeah.
I didn't see that show.
I
saw the show they showed was Dave Grohl's, this thing he did with
back in the day.
It was
Yeah.
hey, look, they dressed up as Cheap Trick.
Yeah,
They do like the band, you know.
I love Cheap Trick.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
I think Live at Budokan is right where it needs to be for rock and roll, right? Just loud, short. The whole thing runs in under an hour?
It's like 38
minutes of just pulverizing.
Just like, hello there, and then it closes with, goodbye there, ladies.
And then Off Wiedersehen is on that. They were a hard rocking band. And what's annoying to me is that what got Cheap Trick their popularity for real was all that cheesy late night
the
80s.
Flame.
Yeah, I was like, it's like all the
remember
records.
This one? It's a ghost town.
I like drowned. She's tight.
She's tight.
All the rocking shit.
I love Gonna Raise Hell.
Yeah.
I think that's the most epic fucking anthem. Each band has a great anthem, and theirs is just like when it comes on, it's like bow down 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 down.
Cheap Trick was in a weird place where I feel like they're a classic rock band, but there's punk shit in there, and then there's this kind of Beatles. They're kind of playing alternative rock before no one really knows what that's gonna be yet.
It's such a weird thing.
Because they don't do wanky guitar solos.
No.
I mean, he can play, but he doesn't show off.
Yeah, it's more like thematic shit.
Yeah.
But back then, it's so weird because you got to think about, I saw these bands in 78.
Okay.
So it would never fly now. You got a guy that dresses like a dude from the Bowery Boys. You know? Like the Nelson. What was
the drummer looks like a dad from Chicago. You know what I mean?
But Rick Nelson had his hat flipped up, and he was like, weird. And then
they all look weird. Robin Sanders, you're the closest you get to a typical rock star.
Yeah, and then you had
the
Angus,
other 3 guys.
Angus from AC/DC, who's a school. What I'm saying is, these are characters.
Yeah.
Now you'd be like, how fucking cheese.
Yeah, what are you doing with that?
Yeah, they got characters in the band.
Well, it was funny to watch. Dave Grohl did that thing at the LA Forum where it was his birthday.
Yeah.
So all these people come out and play with them.
Yeah, like
but
David Lee
they
Roth.
play in their T-shirts because they're a 90s grunge band.
Yep.
But then Paul Stanley goes on there. He knows that he can't do it up completely because he'll look stupid next to David's T-shirt. But the most cash that Paul Stanley could allow himself to be on stage still had a scarf around his neck.
Yeah, one feather
vest.
boa.
Vest with even and standing. Dave looks like he just got done building a garage.
Yeah,
a T-shirt and jeans.
I love it all. I love the fucking. That's why I never really grasped into the punk world because it seems such a regimen of we only like this and fuck everything.
It is
else.
and it isn't though because when you there was a guy who was like that I used to hang out with in high school. He was fully punk.
Those guys. They're all straight edge.
Yeah, but then he called anything that wasn't punk was as an adjective Ozzy. He go, dude, that's Ozzy, dude.
Yeah.
He'd be like, that's so Ozzy. Anything that wasn't punk, he was Ozzy, and that was bad.
I grew up in the speed metal world of Metallica.
But he liked Metallica. That was my whole point.
But Metallica would always be like, and Exodus and them, they'd be like, kill posers. That was their thing. But meanwhile, they'd be at like, a concert like GNR,
Right. When they're supposed to hate that guy.
Yeah, they loved it. They loved it. It was more the crowd, and it was a thing they built on.
GNR was the only, because back then, now it's like, if you like music with a guitar, you kind of got all band together, because it's like, you know what I mean? It's not.
It's like, hey, brother.
Right. Oh, you're good. There's still bands, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But back then, it was, you could have these little factions, and like, there was literally like, I like British metal, the end. How do you like that?
I always remember the girls, which really reminded me of early like alt comedy, was like the Cure scene when I was growing up.
Right.
Just cloves and like, look at these guys.
It was hard for me to get into that stuff because those were the rich kids in Chicago that liked the Cure.
Yeah.
And people now that are like, nerds and stuff, they're like, hey man, it was really important to see those bands, like, because it showed that misfits could play music too. I'm like, that's all well and good.
Yeah.
But all I knew in 1988 was the rich kids that did not like me liked Depeche Mode and Erasure.
Yeah.
The end. That's why, the end.
Duran.
Now I can play those albums and go, you know what? That's a pretty good band. But back then it was like, dude, those guys in all white that wear Genera and don't like me are into this band, so fuck this band. I'm going to listen to the Sex Pistols and the Clash.
I was growing up and it was like Joy Division, eat it, you know what I mean?
Right.
Now they're one of my top 10 bands.
But you couldn't, back then it was a political identity. It wasn't just music.
Really was.
It's like, do you really like that other shit,
Yeah.
But like, I feel like Metallica kind of crashed the walls a little bit just by playing punk covers.
The shit was so dirty and shit,
And they didn't go for any of the like, we like hot pussy. That wasn't. Yeah. They were didn't bother with that shit.
They were ugly, dude. I always said, like, for them to make it. You know how many obstacles they had to fucking jump? No radio songs. None. They're all like 10 minutes. Then they're the ugliest dudes,
Right.
So all of us love them like, well, fuck, they look great,
Right.
And we're bell bottoms.
But they asked Hetfield why he cut his hair. He's like, they called him a sellout for the Black Album. He goes, do you just want us to keep looking like dirty hippies?
Yeah.
Like, is that what you wanted? Our dirty hair everywhere?
Well, I always wanted to look like Cliff Burton my whole life. Like, even now I got a mustache. Like, I love Glenn Fry. You know what I mean? I want to be Glenn Fry. I don't want to be fucking Hulk Hogan.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But nobody knows what mustache you're going for in your head. They look at you and give you the mustache they think you're going for.
Exactly.
You're like,
so funny.
what is it? What are you going for, Cliff from Cheers? No, fuck you. That's
Isn't it weird? Because to me, I'm like, I'm Glenn Fry, 77. Take it easy.
Yeah, they're like, hey, you're Captain Kangaroo.
They're
like, what?
Yeah, Captain Kangaroo had a mustache. I forgot about that. What a weird dude that guy was, huh?
He had a job that was just dude in a suit.
It was so weird. Captain Kangaroo.
So what, you were talking before about how, Cheap Trick, like people, like the way people are on stage, if it's punk rock or a more metal, like, hey, look at the show we're putting on.
Yeah.
I always thought there's like two ways you can approach kind of live performance, not just music, but also everything.
Yeah.
You can be either Vedder or Billy Joe Armstrong. And both can be great.
Yep.
Eddie Vedder is up there going, look, this is just going to be what's coming out of my soul. I'm just going to barf everything out there.
Yeah.
It's going to be real. It's going to be honest. I'm going to be wearing the clothes I woke up in this morning.
Yep.
Billy Joe Armstrong goes, this is a show. I'm going to put eyeliner on. I'm going to put a goddamn costume on.
Yep.
We're going to record. We're going to work out these routines. I'm on holiday. I'm going to have them all clapping in the air. Then we're going to do covers. And but it's just as valid of having a good rock show.
I need it all. I need it all. I always say, Bill Hicks, I love him.
Right.
Great. But I can't have 10 Bill Hicks.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I can't have 10 Eddie Vedders, and I love Eddie Vedder. I never backed that Eddie Vedder bashing. I thought it was ludicrous. You know?
Well,
songwriting was incredible.
What do you want him to do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, find me if you were in charge of being the biggest band on earth and you wanted to be in that band till you were 50. That was your goal.
Yeah.
What would you have done different than Eddie Vedder?
I never backed the bashing the guy when he gets big. It always tripped me out because I'm still a huge Metallica fan, and I love the Black Album.
How are they now, live?
Well, they're great because they play all the old tunes. You know, they play like two newer ones. But, man, when you go see them, you're going to get fucking... they're going to open with Creeping Death, and you're immediately going, holy fuck.
I love Metallica.
Yeah.
I waited in line to get And Justice for All.
Yeah, that's the record.
But they still did the number one most assholey thing in all of rock.
Yeah.
Getting signed and then sending Dave Mustaine back on a bus to San Francisco after stealing his gear the day after you get signed to a major label and then using all of his songs on their first album. Like, I don't think you find me one dickier thing that a rock band has done.
I don't know, man. I can't back that because the thing is, I played with drunks, and when you all of a sudden it's on the line and you're fucking signed a deal and you're like, okay, this is what we've worked for,
and then you realize,
you got a guy that,
but the other guys,
drunk.
Are you telling me that James Hetfield wasn't
they're
drinking?
all drunks, but I'm saying you have that one style of drunk where the evil man comes out. And you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
So they ride across country, and by the time they get there, they're like, we couldn't tour with this guy.
You think they were just in the gas station with Mustaine in the car, and James was like, we're not going to fucking be in a band with this guy. And they're like, no, dude, no.
Yeah.
Well, okay, we'll talk about that more in New York. Wait, what?
Yeah,
but dude, his guitar's pretty sweet.
I'll tell you what, though. You know what's amazing is we got two great things. We got Peace Sells from Dave Mustaine, which I think is a fantastic record.
I don't know how, if you're Dave Mustaine and those guys call you to do the Big Four tour, you know how much money it is, but how can you even stand to be in the room with that guy? You know what I mean? Like, how do you patch that up?
Well, it's been what? I saw him at the 30-year anniversary.
Yeah.
And he's walked on stage and played with him.
He did?
Yeah. And at the Fillmore, they did 5
That's cool.
nights. And it was like, holy fuck, because it was like early days. But I think, like, Dave is a lot like I see with comedians in the world where they want something bigger. You're like, dude, you're huge.
Right.
It worked out for you.
Right.
You didn't OD and shoot yourself or whatever.
That's why I can't read an interview by Billy Corgan. They're one of my favorite bands of all time, but if he won't shut up about how they need to be, why aren't more people talking about how great we are? Shut the fuck up.
He was slagging Nirvana.
Yeah.
And I was like, you have to step back, which was great. Like Dana Gould said in the keynote in Just for Laughs this year. He's like, if you're doing comedy or music and you're doing it at whatever level and out touring and making something, you've already made it. You know what I mean? You can't look at other people's careers. It'll eat you alive.
Sure,
and
you can't.
And I relate
Pete Holmes called it comedy cancer.
Yeah.
He goes, people would sit at the front bar in New York City when he was there, and they would shit talk Aziz Ansari or Dane Cook, whoever guy they thought shouldn't be big and they should.
Yeah.
And he goes, so there were just people, their whole fucking Friday night was sitting at the bar while a show was going on, going, fucking Aziz, I got a fucking better bit. And Pete said every last one of those dudes has quit comedy. They're all gone.
You could go down the line on those dudes. And if you wanted to sit there and just be serious and go, here's why you're not anywhere, and just unload it on them. And then you go to the next guy and go, here's why you're not anywhere.
Most of the reasons I gave to that guy, and then also these ones.
And the main reason is you were all 5 here and not on stage talking shit about
You know
people.
what Aziz Ansari's not doing right now? Sitting at a bar bitching about why he's not, Kevin Nealon or whatever.
People always say I'm pretty positive, and it's like, fuck, I'm 49 doing comedy. The other people aren't my enemies. My enemies are heart attack, cancer, rent. You know what I mean? Those are my enemies.
Hecklers.
Hecklers. People in the biz, not even close. You know what I mean?
Well, it's also the flip side of that when people go, fuck the industry, man. I'm like, you can't, if you've even been put on a festival once, you can't say fuck the industry.
Well, I can't
like, they never did anything
like
for me. Yeah, they did. Like, here you are in a comedy club. That's the industry.
I don't like people that go like, oh, I don't sell out. I don't tweet. I don't fucking this or that. It's like,
all right, well, have fun having no one know who you are.
I don't know what world you're at.
What rock do you listen to now?
Oh, God, so much great rock. It's funny. People say, like, there's no good rock.
They're idiots. Death from Above 1979, the new album. The tracks, especially Trainwreck 1979 and Versions. Part 2, Japan Droid Celebration Rock. That entire album is awesome. Tame Impala is
Love
great.
the new Tame Impala.
Fucking, I'm not a huge Royal Blood fan, but that one big single's good. I
can name them off. I love Alabama Shakes.
Yeah, that album is awesome. I had these two friends that they don't really have great taste in music. And I love them to death, but they're just not. They don't get it, you know.
Yeah.
And they were telling me how they didn't like that new Alabama Shakes record. They're like, it's weird and it's slow. so I'm like, oh, I'm gonna love it. It's gonna be awesome. Anything else you hate? Because I'll probably gotta pick that up too.
It's so weird. I love. There's so much great music. It's hard to keep up right now, but I love like Rival Sons. I talk about them all the time. They're a straight rock band. But Tame Impala, St. Paul and the Broken Bones.
I haven't heard that.
God, that's like you're listening to Otis Redding, man. But white guys from.
Oh wait, no, I have heard that.
Yeah.
My girlfriend's sister played them for us the other day.
Fucking great.
I just go ahead and give fucking Apple the $9 a month, and that way I have whatever they have. Take my money.
I've been pumping the Apple stream for 2 months now.
I had Beats Music, and I watched it morph into the Apple one.
Yeah.
Before I'm like, yeah, dude, I don't have that album, but Dre does, so I'm just gonna pay him $9 to use his.
This fucking Apple shit. Like 2 days ago, sitting around and go, I need some Danzig right now.
Yeah.
Just
all of it. Which one do you want? You know?
Exactly.
And it takes the shit from my iTunes that I meticulously laid it there, and it makes me not feel like I wasted all that time because it integrates it with the rest of your shit.
It's so fucking great. And when you're on the road, see, like when I'm home, I make a specific thing of I refuse to listen to digital music at home.
Okay, so you do all vinyl here.
Yeah.
Now, can you tell the difference?
Well, yeah, you can really tell the difference of the bottom end for me, you know.
Okay,
and
so
also,
if you play, say, Who's Next, an album we both, I'm sure, know top to bottom, do you feel that Who's Next sounds different on vinyl and amps than it would on same speakers, but you did it through? Yeah.
Well, what happens is I find myself hearing stuff on the record that I'm like, whoa, what was that? Like sometimes I'll think there's something fried on my speaker, and I go, oh fuck, he's playing like Bach's back there, you know.
Well, that happened to me because I came up, I had some vinyl because it was cheap as fuck. You could go to the vinyl store and be like, give me every Queen album, and they'd be like, $12, please. It was amazing.
Cheap either,
nobody was doing it. Was the easiest.
No,
give me everything Parliament ever did and throw in the Beatles.
God, I love
$30. Okay.
Yeah.
But the thing with all of the vinyl stuff is that was what I was really getting my music on was cassette tapes.
Yeah,
because I'm 41.
Me too.
So cassettes.
Yeah.
Which sounded like shit.
Yeah.
So some of the biggest albums I ever got into Who's Next, Quadrophenia, and Physical Graffiti from cassettes.
Yeah.
So then I would play them later on CD and go, oh my God, the's like 3 synths in there. And Jimmy, all this shit that I had no idea because I just heard like, no quarter just sounded like
Cassettes were a bummer too if they got eaten in your ride.
They sucked.
Well, early on I buy vinyl in the 70s as a kid like Kiss. I get fucking.
Where are you on Kiss?
No more.
Where do you like them? Do you hate them? I think they're a band that's like got every rock fan has to say where they are on Kiss.
Well, I go with it. Like I had Cedric Bixler on from Mars Volta here at the drive-in, and he coined the phrase right here on the couch. Kiss is the gateway band to music for all kids. You know what I mean?
So
it's kind of like you start with like some bad drugs, and later you go, oh well, there's like cocaine out here. You know what I mean? It's really like that. But
I feel that Kiss Alive is still, you can stand by it.
Oh, it's cool.
Yeah, now, except for the cheesy banter of like, we gotta have a rock and roll party tonight.
Yeah. But I'll take it. You know?
But I will. And then I like Destroyer.
Yeah.
And then they might be done.
I go Creatures of the Night.
Okay.
It's an incredible record.
Although I do Guilty Pleasure, Crazy Nights. The song. Not a good song.
Oh, yeah.
But I heard it as a kid on MTV. Stupid fist pump anthem.
Yeah.
Let's rebel against what? I don't know. But
that's
let's
like
do
Lick
it.
It Up to me.
Yeah,
they're walking, there's fire behind them. Don't want to wait till you know me better. Yeah, right? They got Vinnie Vincent. He looks like a bad woman.
Has anything in music ever been less romantic than the Deuce where Gene Simmons goes, and baby, do the things he says to do. Do it! Like, whoa, what? Why? First of all, what a weird song. Is he the porno director? What's he in the room for? He's not one of the people fucking. Hey, fuck him. What are you, jerking off in the corner? Why is he there? And baby, do the things he says to do so I can come. Like what?
Yeah, all his lyrics are weird. Like Christine, 16.
Yeah, or how about I'm 90, going blind?
Oh, yeah,
I'm 92 22 and you're 16? Like, why are you thinking about that?
Shit is
I'm
so
an old man and I'm fucking her, right, guys? Like, I don't know why this is our next song.
Like
are you serious? Like, hey, Paul, let's do a song where I'm an old dude fucking a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever, Gene. You do what
How
you
do you
need
even
to
write
do.
those lyrics and go, these are great lyrics? Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Shock me. Was that
Shock Me
Ace?
is great. I love that one. It's so good.
I was going to New York City to do shows, and I wanted to put on Twitter, like, Kiss live doing Back in the New York Groove. Like, hey, I'm in New York, whatever. I couldn't find a single clip where they don't fuck it up. I couldn't find a single clip where they get through the song without making a mistake.
Just ruin it.
Yeah, I'm like, well, guys, it's 4 chords.
That's a great.
Here's the lyrics. I'm back.
Yeah.
I'm back. You can figure that
Back
out.
in the
New York Groove.
Yeah.
Repeat twice. There's only 2 verses.
Hilarious. You go Zeppelin?
Oh my God, Zeppelin's one of my favorite bands of all time. If I look at classic rock, because I like a lot of different kinds of music, but if I look at classic rock, I would say The Who first, just for me.
Yeah.
Zeppelin second, but they're very, I can't, you know. Stones, Kinks, Beatles, Queen. Those are the things I always go back to.
It's fucking great,
you know,
man.
like,
Music, right?
Yeah, then that stuff, I swear to God, there's a 14-year-old kid right now buying his first classic rock record. I don't know which band it is. Maybe it's Jimi Hendrix. And he's smoking his first joint and he's listening to When the Levee Breaks, and it's going to be as powerful it is. And people go, well, that stuff's old. Nobody cares. Beethoven's old, and we're still playing that. I think that might have been such a crazily good era of music that's not gonna. And I know that's a real 41-year-old white guy thing to say. But I don't see why people would stop liking.
They're never gonna stop.
No.
It's like Taxi Driver and Raging Bull. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
those movies are on there. Like, I don't want to watch that. Like, well, then you're dumb.
Yeah.
You know, like
whoever says that is just an idiot. You know.
Then for like old punk, which is my next favorite kind of music. I go. Sex Pistols, Clash, Buzzcocks, The Damned. I love The Jam, which
Sex
are kinda,
Pistols over The Clash? That's crazy.
The Clash is a better band. But there is, to me, the Ramones, too. I'm a massive Ramones fan. But I feel like the Sex Pistols, they only have that one album. But I don't know if there's a better blueprint of punk rock song than either Anarchy in the UK, EMI, here's another, just on a sidetrack. Do you know that band Camp Freddy? It's they do charity gigs. It's like Slash and all them. They did EMI with the guy from Lost playing guitar, Saeed, and the dude from Sugar Ray doing Johnny Rotten. And right now, I'm sure there's a lot of people ready to go to kill Mark again because he dared to do Johnny Rotten. He nails it. He fucking nails it.
He does nail it.
And that dude from Godsmack can sing like Paul Rogers. He doesn't ever do it on the Corey Taylor or the Slipknot.
That guy.
That guy's got lungs on him. I had no idea.
All. I see him. He does some AC/DC, Van Halen. I've seen Camp Freddy a million times, and
they're fun live. I bet. I've just seen YouTube clips.
Oh yeah, they're super fun. The only problem is they need to change the set list. They always come out. They do "I Want to Be Your Dog,"
right?
You know, and then they do that down. I
don't think they're 20th Century Boy.
Yeah,
T-Rex.
they'll do that one.
Yeah.
Then they'll do like Ain't Talking About Love.
Yeah, but if you're not going to rehearse and you just know that, then aren't those the most fun songs to play?
Yeah. But I mean, I'm just saying, if you want to see them a bunch of times, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, but it's not like they're going to go work out selling England by the pound. You know what I mean? Like, they just want to fucking do something that's fast and easy and get off the stage.
Just go rock.
They're not going to play Starship Troopers.
Or 2 minutes to midnight. I go Clash over Sex Pistols just because of the depth of the work.
Sure. Well, if you're the Clash's first album, Complete Control, that's my favorite punk song. It's just for punk rockers. That I like the early Jam stuff, which I know is sort of more new wave or whatever, but I think that first Jam record with In the City and all that is
Paul Weller.
Paul Weller's amazing.
I even like that solo stuff he did. What was
Wildwood and I'm a changing man, where he's kind of soul-y,
all of a
90s.
Sudden he's like Tom Petty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like weren't you punk before?
It's so fucking funny.
Now I just want to hear a Hammond organ, mate. Where did that
That's
go
what
from?
happened to him.
Yeah.
Man, he's like, hey, I don't have that rage anymore.
That's true. It's hard to, and what band really does?
You go Fear?
I only know a little bit of it.
Yeah.
What people in LA don't get is that LA thinks bands from LA are bigger than maybe they really are.
Yeah.
Because, to use a Chicago example, we thought Cheap Trick was the Led Zeppelin, and then you go to other cities, you're like, well, I know a couple of their songs, but I mean, you guys, they just lived by you. That's why, and I feel Fear. X, certain bands that are very LA. Yeah. We didn't really get them in the rest of the country. Like, you could get into punk and not really get into Fear. Like, you wouldn't. What am I know they did I Don't Care About You, Fuck You, which I heard from the Axl version. What else do they have? What do I not?
Well,
what do
the first record is incredible.
Okay.
That's really, I think, the one you get. I'll play it for you when we stop. Okay. But that's the record.
Okay.
What's great about punk with me was I grew up in San Fran, and it was like a ground zero of like Dead Kennedys, but we had this incredible club, the Mabuhay Gardens, and it was like CBGB of the West Coast. It really was. Everyone played there. Black Flag, Devo, Circle Jerks, everything. And but what was funny was I grabbed onto Devo. They were like, oh, these guys are cool. They're like Kiss. They wear costumes, and they were heavily in the skate park scene, So now from Sonic Highways, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, fuck, Minor Threat is badass. Right. And then I go, whoa, this is where Rollins really I mean, they're best friends and shit, but you realize this is kind of Rollins, because I love Rollins, but Minor Threat.
I was just glad to see Naked Raygun get put on TV.
Yeah,
like,
that's
that had
cool,
never happened
right?
to any of them.
Yeah,
that was like that HBO special had Naked Raygun on them.
I even
thank Dave Grohl for playing Naked Raygun for my mom. I never would have done it.
That was rad, right?
Thanks, Dave. My mom knows what Jettison sounds like now.
I liked also Bad Brains, man.
Oh yeah, well that was Jack Buchanan, and who I would play with those guys when I started first playing guitar. Those punk dudes, and I would want to play Maiden and stuff, and they'd be like, "Ew, that's Ozzy." But then they would like Bad Brains and Living Color. They could get into because it was
hilarious.
because it was black dudes who were playing who liked reggae, and so they're like, "I'll listen to Living Color play pop metal, but I won't listen to Poison do it because they're white heshy dudes." Like, you couldn't I know it's totally mind. How do you? It's like he had to make like an NCAA bracket to decide what he could listen to. That's good, that's not good. But you know what? I had some of that until very recently, where I can just go, you know what? I like Hot and Cold by Katy Perry, and I don't give a fuck. I wouldn't have been able to say that 10 years ago. I'd be like, Katy Perry. And I'm like, dude, you're gonna die. This song sounds good. Just play it. You know what I mean? Like, what do you care? Sounds like Joan Jett. Just play it.
It's funny because I still feel like in the alt world of comedy, there's still that kind of feeling, or say like in a mainstream rock. If mainstream rock people, they like all kinds of shit. They don't really have rules.
Half the people at the show just got a ticket from their friend.
I know.
Like, there's only like 9 guys on that floor going, well, is this still their key period? Or are we nobody fucking knows that.
Exactly. It's like I just love music.
Sure.
So I seek it out. This morning I'm listening to Kraftwerk. I get up on Sunday, I throw Kraftwerk on. You know what I mean? And
dude, what's the last show you saw?
What did I just see? I went to the Kills last Thursday.
Good.
Oh, fuck.
Where?
At the El Rey.
What are your favorite venues in LA? I've only been to the Fonda and the Satellite and the Forum. And I
love the Forum.
Forums. I just saw Fish at the Forum. That was incredible.
Fuck, I saw.
There's no bad seats.
Nope. I saw Systems there.
We bought a $45 ticket from the fucking box office the night of. We were as bad in quotes as a seat's supposed to be.
Yep.
There were no bad sight lines at all. It was amazing.
Primo
we were looking right
sound.
at the band. Yeah, it's loud as shit in there.
Oh yeah, I love that place and all the photos on the outside.
I saw Coheed and Cambria at the Wiltern.
Oh yeah, you like the Wiltern?
I had fun. I don't know. The only other concert I saw in LA, I saw the Libertines at the Fonda like 10 years ago.
Libertines rule.
So I didn't see him with Pete though.
They're coming back.
They are with Pete.
Well, that's what they're working on right now.
Okay, because I saw him. It was just Carl Barrett going, sorry, he's not here. Still put on a great show.
I'm hoping they let Pete in. Into the States.
Oh, he might be just so the arrest record.
I
love the Troubadour, but I've only seen comedy stuff there. I've never seen a good band there.
It's fucking rock,
Yeah.
Like I saw...
and it's the history. I mean, I know that you can't hear the history in the speakers.
Oh, yeah, but
you can still know you're in the place where Elton John and Guns N' Roses did their first shows ever.
Yeah, it's like the store. It never changed either. They kept it the same look and everything. And like I saw the Strokes there. You see all these fucking great...
How are the Strokes live? I've never seen them. It's one of my favorite bands of all time.
Oh, man, that fucking band rules. To me, they were I compare them to GNR because they felt dangerous every time I saw them.
Well, the one record that'll make me do dumb, bad things always is the first Strokes album.
So
that comes
great.
on,
Is this it?
and there's wine anywhere near me.
Yeah.
Bad things might be happening tonight.
I love the feel of danger.
Yeah.
They were the band that brought it to me.
I rode on a top of a car drunk as fuck while my drunk friend drove it from that out. Like, that's the kind of dumb shit I've done just because I started, you didn't take no shot, cuz. You spent the money that I said, and then you gotta do dumb
great,
shit.
Man. I also love that one. They always close their shows with it. You take it, you leave it, you take it, you leave it.
That's great. New York City Cops.
Fucking great, man.
Let's see. Here's a band I just saw recently that I had not been into before. You ever heard of Diarrhea Planet?
No.
Oh my God, dude. There's 4 lead guitar players.
4?
Yeah. And then 2 guys playing rhythm, and then 4 guys playing lead. I saw them at Lincoln Hall. I saw them at Bloomington, Illinois, or Indiana at the Bishop, and I'm like, this band's incredible. I saw them again at Lincoln Hall. They have people moshing through the whole thing.
Where are they from?
They're from Nashville.
Oh, wow.
And you got to hear this band because it's just constant, crazy, wanky guitar solos. But it works. Like it's like at the core of it, it's like a poppy rock band. But then they just are constantly wailing at all times. 4 dudes.
I'm on that, man. The Kills have 4 drummers. Oh. But they play like
think of what setup is like for those guys.
They play standing up, kind of like robots. It's cool, like gung 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 gung, like really hypnotic shit.
He's after like 6 nights in a row taking down that shit. I could see like, what if you just played bongos, dude?
Just one, just one drummer sucks.
I had a singer once who would set up his mic stand.
Yeah,
and then he'd go sit around, and I'm like, what are you fucking? He's like, I did my setup. Like, are you kidding me? What does that mean?
Let's talk a little bit. You're a comedian now, but you're a lot like me. You grew up playing music.
Yeah.
Now you grew up in Chicago, and what instrument do you play?
I play 2. My first instrument was guitar, and my second instrument was bass.
Okay.
I was in a band. My final band that I was in, the rhythm guy was not that great. The lead guy was much better than me.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll play bass.
Right.
And I ended up loving bass. I can't play fingerstyle because I needed to play very quickly. So I was like, look, man, I'm not going to have the time to learn a whole different fingering for my right hand.
That shit's hard.
So
anyway.
I was
Burton,
like,
you know?
I was like, you know what, man? I'm always going to feel like a second-class bassist because I got a pick in my hand, but we're going to be able to play that gig on Friday. Now, you know what I mean? It was just like, either I'm going to learn the right way, and I'll be your bass player in a year, or I can be your bass player tomorrow playing like John Paul Jones, which is not that bad of a thing anyway. You know what I mean?
What kind of music were you guys playing?
I was in 3 different bands. The first band I was in high school, so we were called the Simplistics with an X. And we played nothing but easy rock covers. We had a couple originals. One original was called Where Did Our Love Go?
Yeah.
It was like all punk. It was like, where did our love go? And it had a and then the big breakdown, like where we really like we're showing everybody how we could rock. We would break it just with the drums and the chords, and he goes, you used me, you infected me, you confused me, you rejected me. And we're like, yeah.
Did you sing ever?
No, I didn't sing in that. I did sing in the third and final band, which was like a jammy Fish type of band.
Whoa. So we have so much in common.
Yeah.
Because you go from punk to the complete opposite
to
evil.
28 guitar solo.
Hacky sack hardcore.
Yeah, I went from punk to jam bands and then immediately back. Yeah. Like it was one of those, like the minute I stopped playing, I remember I had this revelation with our band. We were getting high at practice all the time, right? So we would go out on these crazy, we were so pretentious. We thought we were just Pink Floyd, we're just going to find this album in the jam. Of course, it's amazing, but it's fun. But then you go out to the show and the crowd's like, what are you guys doing? But anyway, I was like, guys, we got to get serious. We're not tight enough. We're going to stop getting high at practice. And I remember we had a DAT set up. This is how long ago it was. It was a DAT recorder on the fucking mixing board.
Hilarious.
And so we're like, guys, we're going to get serious. So we played a jam. Then we played it back. And my first thought after we stopped, I was like, oh my God, we're terrible. Like I've been high all the time. So I thought we were fucking really getting deep. We were just playing for a long time. Yeah. Like, it's not, and my lead guy was really an amazing guitar player, but he was kind of passive aggressive and quiet. Yep. So when a jam wasn't going the way he wanted it to, he would just stop playing.
Wow.
And we were supposed to be like, is something wrong, Mike?
Yeah,
is the band not playing right, Mike? What did we do?
The worst.
How did we fucking tell us what to
like,
do?
you guys are terrible
yeah,
right
like,
now.
No, he would just sit there and be like,
nah, man.
you guys just aren't listening, man. You gotta listen, which is vague. So you're sitting there going, you tell me to play the part, I'll play. I'm not listening. What is that? What am I supposed to do to my playing now?
That's the worst, right?
To listen
You got the one
more.
guy in the band
like,
who's like, he thinks he's the next level artist.
Sure.
You know
And
what I
what
mean?
the other thing is we had 4 different songwriters in the band.
Yeah.
So we just sounded schizophrenic.
Oh, that's
nobody's
hilarious, right?
Nobody's songwriting style matched the other guys.
Yeah.
So but you wanted your songs in the final show.
So you just shoved them in?
Yeah. Well, here's what you wouldn't want to vote down a bad song because then he'd turn around and vote down your song when it was.
Band shit. It was such band shit.
Yeah. It's so fucked
That's
up
why I
because
don't play
and it's
music.
why you can't have a democracy in music. You can't have a system where Ringo gets to outvote Paul.
Nope.
But that's what we had.
Yeah.
So we would be like,
We'd have 39 octopus in the garden.
yeah, it would just be like, here's George song number 8 in 1965 when he wasn't good yet.
Yeah,
You know what
it's
I mean?
crazy.
Like, it was band shit, and like we just couldn't. We never really made a whole lot of money. We were playing local party gigs and bar gigs around Loyola, and I started doing stand up in the city.
Why
and I
did you
started
start
getting
doing
paid.
stand-up?
Because
You're playing rock. Because to me,
my band wasn't any good, and I
Right.
knew it on some level. And I had just got out of college, so it was time to get serious about life. I was waiting tables. I had this dream of being a rock and roll player for like 7-8 years, and now I was 23 in a band that was not particularly great.
Yeah.
And I was still the driving force behind that band, driving everybody to practice, making sure it happened. The drummer had all the gear; he was helping too, but it was me who was like, "Come on, guys, we got to practice."
that's like me.
and
Like,
then I wasn't necessarily the most talented guy in the band, but I was the most driven to make it work.
That's like me. It's like you're just this dad all the time.
And that's why I felt like a dad because I'm like, get in the car, everybody. We
I
got to
know.
go to the practice
It's
space.
fucking
Did you bring
horrible.
your drums? You know, like you
I
feel like an
know.
asshole. And then the songs aren't that great. And then like my buddy Mick Betancourt, who
Yep.
I knew from college, was starting to do stand up, and we had taken some classes in improv because I'd always been interested in comedy. But
Yeah.
once I saw Prince playing a purple guitar and getting laid, I was like, oh yeah, let's do that, you know?
Yeah.
But now I'm coming out the other end of that. I'm 23 and I'm like, this band ain't going anywhere. And I did stand up on Mickey goes, I saw your band. You're not that great. You need
Yeah.
to try stand up. You're a lot funnier than you are a bass player.
But
You know?
but let me ask you something. Where like with me, once I made the conscious decision to do stand up, I knew I was never going to do music again because you can't really do.
I
both.
tried to do both for
Right.
6 months.
Yeah.
I kept doing the band, but then the gigs. And also, even though you're not getting paid much as a stand up, I'm not splitting the check 5 ways.
Yeah, and
So-
also you're not driving these four fucking
and
guys around.
I'm not doing 3 hours of being a mover.
I know.
Because all rock and roll is you're a mover company hauling songs.
You really
like
are.
you're just
yeah.
like
that's true. You're getting you got to. I always love stand up. No sound. check.
no, and I would meet these stand-ups on the road with these trunks full of props and shit.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, don't you get it, man?
Yeah.
We don't have to do this.
Yeah.
Like, what are you
Yeah.
doing? I did this to never do what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
Move that heavy ass.
You know what I
thing.
hate the most? You set all your shit up for sound check, and then you tear it down for the next band to set up.
Well,
Like,
also, the moment that I think typifies that band the most,
Yeah.
the final band I was in, we got a Hammond organ at like nothing.
Oh,
we
we had-
found it for
yeah.
nothing. The old lady had it, whatever.
Yep.
Hammond B5.
Yeah,
We get-
B3?
Yeah, it was a B5.
Yeah, oh,
whatever. Still,
oh,
it's
yeah.
a fucking Hammond. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
It wasn't as versatile as a B3, but it had an awesome Hammond sound.
Yeah.
We sounded like, it was like the Ray Manzarek type of sound. you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
So we hauled that all the way down to a gig in a bar in Michigan, Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Yep.
The sound man hates us. He sees this thing come in the door, and there's like 25 people here. He's like,
He's like, really, a
are
Hammond
you
for-
fucking?
there's no one here.
And then I got to lip, and we get it on the stage, and it breaks.
Oh yeah.
It breaks, and he plays the fucking giant shitty Casio fucking thing. And we hauled that thing down in the van.
Oh.
We get it on the stage, and the tube busts.
Dude, we had a B3 player in our band.
Oh yeah.
In our band permanently. So
Yeah.
every night, this guy had figured out a way to jive fans into moving it.
No way.
He was like,
What, stickers and T-shirts?
No,
What,
he'd be like, there'd be a couple guys hanging out like, you guys were great today. You go, oh, yeah. Hey, can you help me with this? And they go, oh, yeah.
That's
and then
funny.
he would back out of it, and all of a sudden, two people would be magically
and he's just kind of moved guys a little left.
He's just guiding them. And it was like this fucking weird Houdini
He's
thing.
the fan whisperer.
Yeah, he did it every night. And we'd be like, fuck. But that thing would weigh the van down. They break a lot.
Sure.
There's all these hand solder in it.
It's a machine from the 60s.
Yeah, made to stay in one spot for life, you know?
Right. Yeah. You're supposed to have that in your church.
Yeah.
That's what they were built for. It wasn't supposed to be like, this comes with us.
Well, later these guys figured out how to chop them down. These were badass. They're chopped down B3s that fit into a case.
Oh, yeah?
And then you just had a case. You opened the case and you played, and it was sick.
So, but a guy like Greg Allman's probably got 15 guys just like...
Oh, well, those are... If you
you
look at it, they roll into this big road case, and they're on wheels. It's never picked up ever.
Ever, right.
You know
The whole thing is all ramps and pulleys at this point.
Exactly, yeah. So you're doing comedy in Chicago. You start, and who's in the scene out there?
Well, eventually. When I started, 97, Craig Robinson was doing it. And so you'd see him a lot. He was real funny. He was kind of a one-liner guy at that point. He wore a suit, stood stock still. His big joke, he'd go, I went to the bank today. Well, you'll read about it. He was around.
That's a good one.
It's great. Owen Smith was around.
Owen Smith.
And then on those were South Side guys, Corey Holcomb, D. Ray Davis. And then on the North Side, it was kind of dead. We had some dudes at Zanies who were kind of the dudes who never moved, who were still in Chicago.
Yep.
And they were funny, but they were kind of just doing their thing, I had a wife and kids, so they weren't really trying to make it.
Just the weekend guys.
But then we had a real small scene because Chicago at that point was an improv city. All they cared about was Second City and Improv Olympic, which makes sense because John Belushi came out of there, and Carell, Colbert, Amy Poehler, Tina Fey. So that's what the city really, really paid attention to. The stand-up was just kind of whatever. We had one open mic, one shitty booked room in the back of a pool hall, and then one comedy club, Zanies. That was it in the city because the bust had already happened. And for contrast, now Chicago has 4 comedy clubs in the city.
We got Zanies.
Yeah, plus 2 Zanies in the suburbs. Plus there's a factory. There is the Up Comedy Club and the Comedy Bar. And then they've got probably 13 open mics on Monday alone.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
So you can really get on stage.
But when we started, it was not. But we had one guy, Dwayne Kennedy, that we all just wanted to see. It was, if you've never seen him, he's been a writer on like Totally Biased, a lot of different things. Black guy with dreadlocks. He carries a glass of wine on stage.
Yeah.
He was getting that act together, and he would later get Letterman and Showtime special.
He was the star of Chicago.
He was the guy. He was the star. So we would all watch Dwayne because he was doing crazy, smart, funny, different shit, And he'd already been in Hollywood, so he saw what that was like, and he was building his new act. So he was the guy that we all looked for. But then right after me and Mick started, Kyle Kinane, Matt Bronger started in 99.
I love Matt.
Oh, so funny. He had a room at Quenchers. Then Kyle Kinane started also in 99. And then we had a room called the Red Lion, which regular people would come watch.
Yeah.
And then we had a room called the Lion's Den, and that's when Jared Logan, Hannibal Buress, Brooke Van Poppelen, Blair Butler from G4.
Yeah.
Who else? Kumail Nanjiani, Pete Holmes.
Pete Holmes, Chicago?
Pete Holmes is Chicago.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I had him on,
TJ Miller,
yeah,
Nick Vatterott. So that's all one era. And
that's fucking crazy.
It was incredible. And I remember going to that open mic and going, and I'd go out on the road as a feature, and then I'd come back to the Monday open mic, and I'd be out on the road with these headlining guys who were making their living off it. I'd come back to our little open mic. Everybody had a day job. Hannibal used to take the bus there from the west side.
Yeah.
And I remember going, we're better than them, aren't we? I mean, it's a crazy thing to think.
I mean, look who you
but
just
I'm
mentioned.
looking around this room, but we didn't know until 5 years later, like, oh, yeah, you were. These are some of the biggest guys in the country now.
Yeah.
But back then, you'd look around the room and go, I'm pretty sure we're better than all the headliners that I'm opening for right now.
That's crazy, right? Look at that squad, Hannibal.
It's crazy. And then it keeps going from Chicago.
Yeah.
That Stelling's from there from later. Fucking like... the guy in New York City, like 6 different dudes that are like Drew Michael.
I think
guys
that guy,
Knitting Factory. Little Rel's from Chicago. It's a city that keeps on giving because it's what we always said about Chicago is they were a smart city. There's 6 universities in the city, right?
Yeah.
So you can't get away with dumb hack jokes,
right?
But it's a drinking town, so people aren't going to get away with real soft-spoken coffee shop shit either.
Right.
So you got to be smart, but you also can't be boring, or they're not going to listen
animated.
to you. Yeah, you do.
Right.
So if you look at every Chicago comic, the one thing a lot of us have is loud. You know, like Bronger.
Yeah.
The sound. You ever make that? You have to, because there was 16 drunks staring at you.
Battle the drunks.
Yeah, and you're like, well, here we go.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a thing where you never got to be precious enough that it would only work at an alt room, but you never got hacky enough that it would only work at the Ha in North Hollywood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hilarious. Now, let's talk a little bit about, you came in, we're talking Marin. You worked on this Marin in Space.
Marin in Space. If people haven't seen it.
It is fucking great.
Thank you so much, man.
Let's talk a little bit.
And Mark did it. He's so good in that 5th episode, too.
Yeah, it's so great because he even loved it,
Oh, yeah, that's great. Because he was so good in the room, too, because Marin goes, so what's the deal with this thing? And I'm like, well, basically, just comedy equals space captaining. He goes, got it. And then when he was doing the improv at the end, he goes to James Adomian, they're doing dueling Marins. Yeah. And he goes, and James goes, who are your guys, man? And Marin goes, oh, I'm old school, man. I go all the way back to the Mercury 7. I was like, what a great fucking... He got it immediately, you know?
I love it, yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
Now, how do you guys come up with that?
We were writing sketch in New York for a sketch show that we have pitched a million times and still have not sold yet. Hey, everybody out there, if you want to buy a sketch show. But so we were writing all these sketches, and we were bored as shit one day. We were getting high, and we were like... what if Marin, because James does a Marin impression. We're like,
and it's dead on.
Yeah, so we're like, what if Marin was the captain of the Enterprise? And so we wrote a fake movie trailer for this, or it's like a fake DVD box set ad with all the stuff that it would eventually, and then James had a show with IFC. It ultimately didn't go, but for a while they were working with him, and he goes, I do this Marin thing, and they're like, well, we're putting out Marin's show. Yeah. He goes, well, we have this sketch called Marin in Space, and so IFC gave us. They had Funny or Die, and the guys from the Birthday Boys directed it, but Funny or Die produced it. But IFC put up $60,000. Wow. And that's why the planets look great, the ships look great.
$60,000.
Yeah, but it was just our little dumb idea. We were going, what if Mark Maron was the captain of the Enterprise? And then Mark, thankfully enough, liked the idea and then agreed to be the evil Marin in the final episode. So we got all I ever wanted. Because I remember that, when I was a kid growing up, when Dennis Miller would be on SNL and then Carvey would do Miller right to his face. I'm like, I just want that, but Marin. And we did it. Yeah. So I listened to a ton of Marin stand-up, and I wrote the monologue against the supercomputer. Yeah. And if people want to see it, it's right on Funny or Die. It's called Marin in Space.
It's so great. Have you ever seen the Charlie Murphy claymation Star Trek stuff?
No.
Oh, my God. It's so fucking funny. Basically, what they do is they take Charlie Murphy. It was some TV channel. Let's see here.
Sorry, I just had to know what time it was.
It's we've been going 53 minutes.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll do another 10, and then I'll get my girlfriend to come pick me up.
You got it. It's 2:30, 2:20,
cool. 2:20. Sweet.
Yeah. But he does a claymation, and it's he's Spock, and they do cribs.
Oh, that's funny.
So they go to his house. He's all, yo, Spock, this is my crib. It's dope. And then he goes in, and there's the cast is there, and he's like, and he's like, Captain, you're getting salsa on my leather, on his couch and shit. You gotta see it.
All right,
it's
I'll check it out.
Funny. And I was bummed they only did 2 because it was some network that died.
Claymation's expensive.
It's so hard.
If you have a claymation thing and the money dropped out, it's not like you can just get your friends together and move some clay around.
I know.
There's only a couple of people who know how to do that.
Must have costed fortunes.
Back in those, and Gumby's just a slab of green. There wasn't actually any hard things they had to move.
Exactly. And they did cheater stuff, like they put Vaseline on his eyes so they would just move it real quick as they shot him, I
can't believe what people are. It's so easy to do production wise today. We would do that, we do these things in Funny or Die, and we did one. We had Hardball Canada, which is one of the ones we just did with James as Chris Matthews, trying to get to the bottom of what Canada's all about.
Yeah.
And they did that for $2,000. The whole thing's on green screen. All we did was shoot with a desk, and
isn't that amazing?
It looks like looks like hardball. It
It's
looks like fucking some
unbelievable.
guy at a computer just did that.
It's great,
You know, It's
right?
amazing.
These guys are getting killer, man.
Yeah.
Like, like I wanted to do a special like Incredible Mr. Fox.
Yeah.
Where I'm like claymation or stop motion.
Sure.
And the audience is regular. So I shoot the show regular.
Right.
And then they place me in as claymation.
The first note you're going to get is, okay, great, but how about we just have you up there? It's going to be.
It's not the first special, but it would be cool. It's like
down the road.
Yeah, like a second or third. You'd be like, so when you're looking at the crowd, they're normal, but I'm clay.
And they don't know that. They just think there's a clay guy.
Well, they just saw me. You know what I mean? And then when they watch it, they go like, "That's not what we saw." But that's kind of a wild thing. Where are you at with? You've done Conan.
I did Conan.
This is an interesting thing. I want to talk because you've done them all. And I always say, to me, like I did Maron, Rogan, Pete Holmes, those seem to be way bigger than the late night spots now, don't you think?
Well, I've done a bunch of Getting Doug's where, 295,000 hits on the one with me and Bonnie Rotten, 270,000 on the one with me, Pete Holmes, and Jade Chandrasekhar. I mean, and for my Conan, I feel like they get like probably 500,000 to 1 million, depending on what night you're on.
Yeah.
But the Conan clip is now at 100,000 hits.
That's great.
You know what I'm saying? Like, even if what the late night shows do is that it's almost more about all the people on the Team Coco app now. That you're really performing for. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know who the fuck's sitting around watching TBS at night. Yeah. But I do know that 1 million to 5 million people are following them on Facebook.
Yeah.
And so the next day, the stand-up clip comes up. The stand-up clips are right there in the app on any Conan fan's phone.
Yeah.
So I feel like what you're really doing, and I think even for Conan and their staff, half of their money is being made by people that watch them on a social media feed.
Absolutely. Well, they're smart.
Right.
They got in on that ground level of social media and killer.
Yeah, the reason you're doing Fallon now is not to be on the Tonight Show. It's for that clip to go up the next day and get blasted out to every fucking thing that Lorne Michaels can see and make sure they saw you talk to Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's incredible with the podcast.
But the podcast fans come out more.
Yeah, they do.
Because they're fans, like, they're more likely to be your fan. The people who watch a late night show, they're fans of the guy who hosts the late night show.
Yeah, they stumbled across the
right,
band,
and there you are,
comic.
and good for you.
Yeah.
But I mean, the people on a podcast, they're more likely to be fans of what you actually do.
Absolutely.
Rather than just
they know you. They start to know you. That's what's the freedom. Because then, like I said, when I was on tour with Mark, when he's referencing stuff from an episode or whatever, they know what the fuck he's talking about, and they're laughing like he's like, yeah, so such and such is in the chair, and you might have heard me like stalling, but that's because he was doing this, and they're like, oh, I knew something was
right
up.
now. It's like this director's commentary track of a thing they heard.
Really cool, man.
I did not understand, I think, the fervency of podcast fans and like how into it they get.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't listened to all of my episodes. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, but there's people out there that have.
Yep.
And they'll reference shit and I'll be like, yeah. And then I got to go back and be like, all right, I said that to Steve Agee.
Well, I did a thing where I was like, maybe my fans will be called the Green Deans. And I forgot how that came up. And then it lit fire on Twitter.
Then they started making Green Dean hats.
Yeah, they got stickers and shit. So I was like, what? How did that come up anyway? And then this guy came up to me and goes, I noticed you were asking how that came up. Your friend was in the Blue Man group. And then you said, how about if you had the Green Deans? I was like, oh, that's right. This is how
I forgot a complete bit entirely. But, they play my bits and stuff on the radio. Very thankful for that. But they're old shit and I don't remember it.
Yeah.
So I was like, we love your Applebee's bit. I'm like, do I have one?
Yeah.
And then I went to Facebook. I'm like, what's my Applebee's bit? And like 4 different people were like, well, you started by talking about that. And this isn't me to be like, oh, I'm so arrogant. It's just that's how people are into it. Like,
dude, I'll forget
them,
bits
man.
from 6 months ago.
But I did that. I've been that fan myself. I talked to Leo Allen in New York. I had never seen him at this point. But I go, when I've worked with him a couple times since we were doing Whiplash, I go, hey, man, I love your bit about watching The Godfather with the director, The Godfather 3, Grease 2 with the director's apology track.
Yeah.
And he goes, what? I'm like, yeah. You go, yeah. I was watching Grease 2 last night with the director's apology track. The guy was like, yeah, this scene's no good. Maybe you just want to fast forward. I'm sorry. You know, it's a good movie, The Godfather.
Oh.
So he goes, I haven't told that bit since I did it on the TV show you saw in 2001. I'm like, yeah, I know. I still know every word.
I'm the same way. Sebastian Maniscalco, he did a bit about, he's like, I was going to the Grove today, and I was going down Fairfax.
I was going to the Grove today?
You been on this fucking place?
Have you been on Fairfax?
Yeah.
By the Grove?
That's
what I love
it.
about Sebastian, he slows it down.
Yeah.
You will laugh at my pace.
Yeah.
I will not speed up for your pace.
Right?
Yeah. It's just absolute mastery of that crowd.
So I happened to be at the store in the crowd watching it, and he goes, I'm going down the street, normal speed. I cross Melrose. Between Melrose and Beverly, it takes me 2 hours. What is in those shit shops? And it made me die, because I always said the same thing too. Once you get to Supreme, you know?
Yeah, what are we?
All of a sudden it's mad traffic for a block. And you're like, what is this? And I went up to him, I go, dude, that was so fucking funny. It was like 6 months later, and he goes, I did that once.
Right.
On the way to the gig, it hit me, and I was like, well, fuck.
People request that. Do you still do that thing? I'm like, I did it the night you saw me.
Yeah.
That was an ad lib that night. And that and the other thing, sometimes I feel like I let my fans down. Well, they'll go, I love that bit. I'm like, I could never get it to work, and they're like, you couldn't. I'm like, I'm sorry. I wanted to. I know. I thought. I'm glad you thought it was funny. I thought no one did.
You're the only guy.
I thought it just
those are the same dudes that like the obscure track on a record.
Yeah, like, hey, dude,
I really like Squirrel Fest.
I saw the Who. They didn't even play the Dirty Jobs.
Yeah,
why they didn't play the Ox or Boris the Spider? What the fuck was that?
Yeah, right. What are you working on right now?
Right now, I'm about to hit the road pretty hard. I've got a tour coming up. Well, whatever you call a bunch of stand-up gigs in a row.
Yeah.
I've got Zanies in Chicago, the week of August.
Are you headlining
11th.
all of them?
Yeah, I'm headlining that whole week, Tuesday through Sunday.
Yep.
Then I've got, and then I do the Tacoma Comedy Club, August 29th.
Yep.
It's going to be great. That's one of my favorite clubs to do. So come see me if you're in either of those areas. I have my own podcast now called Don't Ever Change. We got to have you on there. We interview comedians about what they were like in high school.
Oh yeah, I'm the same guy right here.
Yeah, so well, that
here
good.
it is.
Yeah.
Single and into rock and roll.
And
wearing the same clothes.
The same fucking band on your shirt.
Yep. Same clothes. Same fucking ideas in life.
We'll just play that. Be like, there, you know, now you know.
That's it, yeah.
So I'm doing that, and then, we've got a bunch of different things we're trying to sell. I do a lot of writing with James. There's a movie we're working on, and, and then just trying to get the next At Midnight or the next Conan or whatever the next TV appearance is to push it along,
I'm trying to get on At Midnight. That's looks so much fun. I play it
it's real fun.
I play it every night,
fun.
in the Twitter. And once in a while, I'll get one that lights up, and you get excited, like, "Oh shit, 200 retweets!"
Yeah, because people are looking at it.
Yeah,
it's a fun game. The thing I love about At Midnight, and they want all the comedians to look great.
Yeah.
They don't make fun of you. They don't cut you off. They set you up. When they edit the show, they always edit it so everybody gets their funny stuff out, and they don't put lame stuff on.
Yeah.
It's just a real comedy, a comedian friendly program to be on.
I went to the shoot.
It's not some free for all like some of those other panel shows. Where like, I got to fight for air on this thing and get made fun of by this guy.
Stomping over each other.
Yeah, it's like, well, Hardwick makes sure that doesn't happen.
He's fucking great. Mm-hmm. Well, thanks, man.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
This will be out tomorrow. So.
And I'm John Roy Comic on Twitter. So if anyone wants to learn about any of that. Oh, also, if anybody listens to your show that wants to do stand up, I have a 12-week free comedy class. So people go, what do you mean free? It's free. You just go on the internet. It's 12 different essays with questions at the end and things for you to do at an open mic, and then a bunch of videos of like Greg Giraldo and Marin, just great comedy clips. Bernie Mac, and just to watch and take questions on. But basically, if you got a place where you can do 3 open mics a week, just read my shit and do it, and don't pay some guy $400.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, that
doesn't even do comedy.
No, or whose biggest credit is a cruise ship, or like he was in middle at the Funny Bone.
Yeah, now where's that at?
It's just on my website, johnroylive.com.
Wow, that's so cool.
Just click on free comedy class, and it takes you right there.
That's awesome, man. I'm gonna actually look at that.
Yeah.
I learn stuff from all.
I learn every
kinds of
day.
people. I do too, man. Yeah, I do too.
You'll watch a guy just one night and be like, I remember watching Ben Roy in Denver, and he was sitting on the stool, but he started getting high energy.
Yeah.
And he was getting real high energy from the stool. And then at the end of the bit, he stood up, and they went nuts because the power of it. But I'd never seen somebody do high energy from the stool before.
Yeah.
I didn't think
High
that was a
energy
thing.
from the stool.
Yeah. I was like, so you can always learn, like any day. You know?
I was out on that Marin tour, and it was like college.
Sure.
It was unbelievable, everything I learned.
I saw Marin get laughs from he was in Portland in a theater at a festival, and he had bought shoes that day, and they didn't fit real good.
Yeah.
And he thought they fit in the store, but now they didn't.
Yeah.
And he probably got 7 to 8 laughs through the night just going, yeah, man, I don't think it, you know,
Yeah,
I thought, and
yeah.
then everyone would laugh.
Callbacks on the
but
show.
it's not even, it wasn't even bits. Like, I was like, man, that's some real comedy up there.
I love the magic of riffing and bits.
Sure.
I don't think there's anything better in life than that.
To be able to go in and out, and then
it's the ultimate fucking.
Because then it's just the thing you know, and I hate to get all nuts and bolts on you, but the thing you know, if you're getting equal laughs on the bits and the material, is that you have seamlessly fused those two voices so that they can't tell the difference. A lot of time a guy does a polished bit, sounds like his polished bit guy.
Yep.
Then he's riffing and he sounds like a dude hanging out in the basement.
Yeah.
But you can see the change of the guy, and I still have that. Like when I riff, I sound differently.
Yeah, I do too.
Than when the bit. So when you see a guy like Marin and it goes back and forth and you can't tell, that's because he's got 20 whatever the fuck years of comedy under his belt.
I know.
Yeah,
because that's what Marin said. He goes, "Look, man, you're getting it, and once you really become the dean I'm hanging out with, it's gonna be fucking over with." You know
Somebody told me that you start out in comedy and your idea is to just be what you think a comedian is.
Yeah,
which is just this idea in your head of Seinfeld or whatever of like, but then there's the real funny guy that made you able to do this at all.
Yeah,
but you don't start out as him. You start out, and so with the analogy he gave was, it's like you're parachuting into the wrong location.
Yeah.
And then you have to use your whole 20 years of comedy getting back to your real self. Which you already were before you ever picked a mic up.
I'm trying to get to the 7th grade locker.
Yeah.
Where I riffed on dudes and crushed and
it takes 20 fucking years of doing jokes to learn how to be the funny guy you were at the lunch table.
That's it, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's all we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Hey, you're welcome,
man. And I'll see you soon. It's great to see you. And I hope I see you out there this week.
Absolutely.
Whatever, right on. And we got a jam.
Absolutely.
We're going to jam.
I have a bass. It's shitty, but it plays. I just got to restring it.
We're going to get it together.
Let's do it.
We're getting it together. All right. Thanks, guys, for tuning in.